are living stereo stylists in this group.
Welcome to the Copenhagen stage at Nordic Edge, and maybe also one of the finest locations in town. COVID has forced us to rethink our urban strategies. What have we learned from previous months, and how does a safe, healthy and smarter city going to look like in the future? This is all questions we're going to ask ourselves today. But before we do that, let's take a look at this vibrant and creative Bloxhub. So let's take a look. All right, here we are in the heart of BLOX. And hey, Torben, do you have a minute?
Hi, I do.
Yes, this is Torben Klitgaard, the director of Bloxhub. And Torben, why did you build this house?
Oh, well, we built this house some 2 years ago, opened up in May 2018, because we want to show the world what Danish and Nordic design and architecture can do for the world and for creating better cities. Mm-hmm. It's a showcase to the world what Danish architecture and design and innovation can do for the world. Alongside that, it's also a platform that attracts international companies that wants to work with Nordic companies, wants to open up the Nordic region as their market. So it's a platform for Danish companies going out into the world, expanding their business internationally, and for international companies to come and work and co-create with Danish designers and Nordic companies.
Mm. And then there's Bloxhub.
That's true.
Your place. Do you want to show us around a little bit?
I would love to, Maja.
Let's go. Okay, so now we're standing here in the heart of Bloxhub. Torben, tell me a little bit more about how you work here.
This is actually the heart of our co-working space in Bloxhub, and Bloxhub is the urban innovation hub located here in downtown Copenhagen. We opened up 2 years ago, so it's quite a new place still, but we've had the fortunate to have quite a lot of companies choosing us as their location, prime location office space. So we have both fixed seats and flex seats, and we have closed offices here. All in all, some 120 companies, equaling some 700 people coming here on an everyday basis. But what's important to say is that it's even though we have quite a lot of companies, quite a lot of people coming here, what unites them is their urge and mission to work for creating better cities. Mm. So sustainable urbanization is sort of top of the agenda for all the companies in one way or the other, all the companies that work here. Okay,
so I know you have been talking about Bloxhub as an ecosystem. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that works, how you see that ecosystem?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it's hard to create an ecosystem. I think it's not just going out saying, hey, the 100 coolest architectural companies, unite them, or the 100 coolest engineering companies, unite them. An ecosystem is a platform of a great variety of different stakeholders or companies, public-private companies, as I said. I think I see the ecosystem as, to be a little bit technical, it's a distributed network, of course, but we create the relations within that network. So the matchmaking doesn't necessarily happen by itself. Of course, you can bump into people at the coffee machine or at a party or at a social gig or whatever, but we try to facilitate the matchmaking as much as possible. And for that, we have sort of a variety of programs where companies meet, inspire, work together and co-create in order to boost their individual businesses as much as possible.
Yeah, it's like a Kinder egg, right?
It's like a Kinder egg, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I also know you have some technologies here.
We do.
Some very cool ones, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to show me?
I would like to, yes.
Take a look. All right. So Torben, what is this place?
This is actually what we call our virtual reality studio. This is a studio we use, or a lab we use, for primarily building owners and architects and designers and engineers to talk about the building projects. Normally when you set up a construction project or a building project, you have only vague ideas of the end result. Now the point here is that you have to illustrate the end result of a building or an urban space or a city development in this case. And this is that's what we use this tech lab for.
Okay, tech lab, I like that. Okay, so thank you very much for showing us this But today we're going to talk about how we can, well, in a smarter way, rethink cities in a more healthy and in a more resilient way. What is your take on this?
One thing I think is very, very important to note, everyone knows that's the COVID-19 situation, and that's for certain has introduced much more complexity in designing more healthier and more resilient cities.
And where do you see that technologies and digitalization fits into that?
Well, I think the technology and digitalization has a key driving role. I think you can't do this without thinking technology at first hand. So when designing buildings, you have to think digitally. You have to have a mindset of how can we create the most digital building at all. In terms of facility management, of course, in terms of optimizing the use of the space, etc., etc. But moving outside, I think the notion of actually being aware of flows in the city, not only people flows, but also bicycles, cars, trolleys, trucks, etc. The notion of really knowing what are the flows in the city and through, of course, data. So data, there will be an even more focus on data and creating city data in the future on the basis of the COVID-19 situation.
Yes, so an enabler, I hear you say.
Definitely,
yes.
Yeah, and if tech and digitalization was an important enabler before the COVID-19, it's even more important now.
So thank you so much for your thoughts.
You're welcome.
Thank you for showing us around in this fascinating place.
Anytime.
I hope I get another invitation another time.
You will.
Yeah, okay. But now we're going back to the main stage at the Nordic Edge. See you in a while. So, welcome back to Copenhagen stage at Nordic Edge. Before we start, let me just say we have a little audience with us today. They're of course completely soaked within disinfection from head to toe and also sitting with a healthy and nice distance to each other. So let me introduce you to the first panel, Visions for Healthy Nordic Cities, moderated by Per Bosgaard from City Facilitators. Take it away, Per.